That gate took like 7 minutes to pry.
Which is a good thing.
Somebody decides to break into Frost Bistro, come try to steal some money, steal the safe. Why not just do something in life to earn money and find something else to do? That's when they come out with the safe.
That's crazy. You know, it totally messes up your whole, like, your mental, you know what I'm saying?
The decision was made. Kirk had spent months considering every angle, weighing the impact on Cannon. But it was clear that the time had come. The court papers were signed. The request for full custody of his son, Cannon, was filed.
Sometimes I feel like we can't catch a break. You know, we're in the middle of filing for full custody. I've been in court with this situation. Then, you know, we get broken into. It's always something on top of something. It totally puts me in a bad space with even moving forward buying more property. It makes me feel like we might need to rethink and pause on the next move. I feel all kinds of ways right now because it's like, damn. You know, this being in the public eye sometimes, we just get targeted. Like, people just think, you know, let's just go break in their house. You know, they broke in Spice's house, they broke in Sierra's house, they came to my house twice. But at the end of the day, I'm just glad to be able to stay in business and provide great food and a great business for people to come to.
And what's crazy is this is something I normally would connect with Yandy with, since she's had incidents with her restaurants too, but it's like some shit in the water or something, because everybody's arguing, even Yandy. She came at me and Spice about some mess about Mendices and trying to act like I ain't have her back again. Crazy. Yandy. I mean, you know, I ain't got no problem with nobody for real, but my thing is like, you gotta be mindful of that.
At least y'all used to be like, it was like cliques. Now it seemed like
everybody just doing whatever, all over the place.
That crew is, I don't know what the happened.
After kind of like replaying this whole situation, I felt like if somebody is your friend, you don't come in on the accused. Whatever Yandy and Mendices got going on in their household that's trickling all outside, that has nothing to do with me or my husband. End of story. Sometimes, you know, friendships change and...
Bro, like, what's going on here? Now, just take me off your radar. Don't come here with we got enough going on. I see Jasmine is recruiting. She's hanging around your girlfriend. We need to really, truly rethink.
Everybody. A bitch too old to be having to maintain and maintenance people. I want to protect my peace, and I want positive around me.
The choice was finally made. Kirk had spent countless sleepless nights turning over every possible outcome in his mind. He had thought about the effects it would have on everyone involved, especially his young son, Cannon. But no matter how many scenarios he imagined, they all led to the same conclusion: it was time to act. Filing for full custody wasn't something Kirk did lightly. In fact, it was the hardest decision he had ever made. But deep down, he knew it was the only way to truly protect Cannon's future and give him the stability every child deserves. The paperwork was signed, and the custody petition was officially submitted to the court. There was no turning back now. For years, Kirk had tried to maintain peace with Cannon's mother, Jasmine. He wanted to make co-parenting work for the sake of their son. But their relationship had become more strained over time. Arguments had become routine, and conversations often turned into battles. Jasmine's unpredictable behavior, emotional outbursts, and attempts to control situations, especially by using Cannon as leverage, had crossed a line Kirk could no longer ignore. Kirk had reached his limit. Watching Cannon live in an environment full of tension and confusion broke his heart. The boy needed peace, consistency, and a safe space to grow. Kirk realized that if he didn't step in now, the damage might be permanent. Still, he knew this would come at a cost. The morning after he filed the custody papers, Kirk woke up with a heavy heart. As he got ready for work, a sense of unease lingered in the back of his mind. Friends and even his lawyer had tried to offer him reassurance. "It's just a necessary step," they said. "She'll come to understand eventually." But Kirk didn't believe that. He knew Jasmine. He knew her temper, her pride, and how she viewed any form of challenge as betrayal. He hadn't filed for custody to hurt her. He had done it to protect Cannon. But that didn't matter now because she would only see this as an attack. As the day went on, Kirk did his best to stay focused at work. But his mind kept drifting back to Cannon. He hadn't seen him in days. Jasmine had been keeping the boy away, something she often did whenever she felt cornered or angry. It had become her way of asserting control, and Kirk was tired of it. He had promised himself, this time he wouldn't back down. That evening, just as the sun dipped below the horizon and the house began to grow quiet, a sharp knock echoed through the entryway. Kirk paused, his breath catching for a moment. He didn't need to guess who it was. He could feel it in his bones. His heart began to pound, but he forced himself to stay calm. Slowly, he approached the door and looked through the peephole. It was Jasmine. Her face was flushed, her eyes blazing with anger. Her entire body radiated fury. Before Kirk could even fully open the door, it flew open with force, slamming against the wall behind it. Jasmine stormed into the house like a hurricane, her fists clenched, her chest heaving. "You think you can just take him from me?" she screamed, her voice raw and sharp. "You think you can rip Cannon away from me like I'm nothing?" Kirk took a step back, trying to steady himself. He had prepared for this moment in his mind, but nothing could have fully braced him for the emotion pouring out of her. This wasn't just a disagreement anymore.
And Kirk now trying to get full custody of Cannon. Things have been going crazy for me. I really need support from my mom right now, so I asked her to tag along with me so that I can fill her in on what's going on with me and Kirk.
Mommy. Hey, babe.
I also asked Rod to meet with me as well. As a lot of you might remember, Rod was my longtime partner and the man that helped me raise Cannon.
Jasmine and I have been together off and on for about 5 years now.
Kirk is the father of Cannon. He's denying everything.
I don't know what you expected from him but that.
Kirk is doing all this because he's shaking in his boots right now. He's trying to discredit me. He's trying to make me out to be a hoe.
You brought him into our life, you gotta deal with the situation.
I'm going to deal with Kirk how I see fit. Already filed the paperwork, and he will be served. Rod views Cannon as his flesh and blood. Rod's picking him up to watch him when I have to work, like he's been there a whole lot. So let's get to it. You know, me and Kirk have been in this child support court situation for over a year now.
Right.
The first time I went through it, I kind of let it go because I let him convince me to.
Yeah.
And this time around, I'm not budging. He gives me $1,000 a month.
What?
That's crazy.
$1,000 a month. I don't understand it, like how?
And he's still battling me, saying, what 8-year-old needs $1,000? I thought we finally settled on the money amount a few months back at the Cyphers of the A concert.
So the amount of money that I sent you, that's the number you cool with, right?
Yes.
So we can end this lawyer.
Period. But typical Kirk backed out on our agreement of the amount that he was supposed to give me. So I had to take Kirk to court to get a reasonable amount of child support because $1,000 a month just isn't doing it. We had our preliminary trial, and Kirk is now trying to countersue for full custody.
Full custody?
Stop it.
I can count on my hand in the last year how many times he's seen Cannon.
I don't know where the delusion lies because he really thinks that he goes above and beyond. You just started getting Cannon that one weekend a month.
Cannon's with me 10 times more than he's ever.
Right. Exactly.
His delusion is just going above and beyond. Cannon calls that man Yaya. He don't even call him dad. He calls me dad because he wants so bad to identify with a father figure.
Yeah.
And it's not making sense to him because I don't even see you, man. So, like, custody is nuts.
The fact that Kirk is going for full custody is up to me. Cannon doesn't even know how he fits into your family, into your life as it is. In my heart, I feel like it's just another tactic that he's pulling
Most definitely.
to get away from paying me whatever he's supposed to pay me, or maybe he's trying to scare me into settling. But that man does not want full custody because he was offered 2 weekends a month and didn't even want that.
He's mad because you called him out.
Kirk is doing this because he's mad and he doesn't want to pay child support. But now he's not the only one that's mad. Now I'm mad. What he's doing by countersuing me for full custody is up. If he thought I was calling him names before, oh, you just wait, baby. I just feel like I'm at my wit's end.
There better be some kind of Listen, civilized solution.
I tried. I done chased Rashida around at one point. Now I'm not chasing Rashida around. Now her friends want me to chase her around and did that. Backfired. Rashida don't want to talk to me. Like, I'm done.
But I don't want you to give up on it. I know the court might be the final say so, but at the end of the day, y'all gonna have to work this out. I just want for Cannon to have a good relationship with his father. I want for y'all to have a good relationship because at the end of the day, Cannon deserves that. At this point, they need an olive branch. They need something.
I'll never.
Wow.
This was an explosion years in the making. Jasmine, he said quietly, trying to keep his tone steady. This isn't helping. We need to talk, not fight. I'm doing what's best for Cannon. She stared at him like he had slapped her. You think you know what's best for him? You're stealing him from me, she shouted, her voice rising with every word. Kirk tried to stay calm, tried to explain that the decision wasn't about punishment or revenge. He wanted Cannon to grow up without constant shouting, confusion, and manipulation. But Jasmine wasn't listening. Her pain had already turned into rage. Suddenly, she reached for a vase on a nearby table and hurled it against the wall. It shattered instantly, pieces of glass scattering across the floor. Kirk flinched, but didn't move. He couldn't show fear. He had to stay composed. She kept going. Fueled by desperation, she began to throw anything within reach: pillows, picture frames, a chair. The room quickly turned into a disaster zone. It was as if she believed that by destroying the physical space around her, she could somehow erase what had happened. This is my house. This is my child. You don't get to take that away from me, she shrieked, her voice hoarse from crying and yelling. Kirk stepped toward her cautiously. He wasn't angry. He wasn't even surprised. All he felt in that moment was sorrow. The woman standing before him wasn't the Jasmine he had once cared for. This woman was someone broken, lost in fear, and terrified of losing control. Please, Jasmine, he said gently. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping Cannon. But it was like speaking into a storm. The chaos continued until Jasmine suddenly and without warning turned and bolted for the stairs. Kirk's instincts kicked in, and he rushed after her. He called her name, but she didn't stop. By the time he reached the top of the staircase, she'd already made it to the window at the end of the hallway. Kirk's heart dropped when he heard the sound of shattering glass. Jasmine, he shouted, panic rising in his throat. She was standing at the open window, her hands on the frame, her body trembling. Her eyes were wide, not just with fury now, but with something deeper. Despair, defeat, and fear. She wasn't trying to hurt herself, Kirk realized. She was trying to escape from him, from the fight, from the truth of what their relationship had become. She didn't want to face the reality that Cannon might not be in her home tomorrow. Come down, Jasmine. Please, he begged, stepping toward her carefully. We can get through this, but not like this. Cannon needs both of us. He needs you, too. She turned slightly, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her voice was barely a whisper now. You don't understand. If I lose him, I have nothing left. Kirk's heart ached at the sight. He had never wanted to take Cannon away from her, only to protect him. He reached out his hand, offering her something to hold on to literally and figuratively. Then let's figure it out, he said. But this can't happen again. For Cannon's sake. For all of us. After a long pause, Jasmine stepped back from the window. Her body seemed to collapse under the weight of all her emotions. Kirk gently guided her to sit on the edge of the bed. He didn't say anything more. There were no perfect words to fix what had been broken. But maybe, just maybe, this was a start. In the following days, the house remained quiet. The emotional storm had passed, but the wreckage was still there. Jasmine didn't speak much, and Kirk focused on making arrangements for a safer, more structured environment for Cannon. He knew that healing wouldn't be quick. There were wounds that would take time to mend. But he also knew he had done the right thing, even if it meant walking through fire to get there. Cannon was safe now, and Kirk, for the first time in a long time, could breathe knowing that he was finally standing up, not just for his son, but for what was right.